We're going to go game by game, matchup by matchup, talking about our favorite running backs to start in those games. We're also going to talk about some sits, some guys we're like meh about as well, as we're covering the matchups for these running backs. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because I'm here to help you set your lineups. We're going to cover all the matchups and every single player tomorrow. And then come Sunday through Wednesday and Thursday, waiver wire content nonstop. And we're going to be doing deep dives every single day on as many players as possible so you know whether or not to pick up that player that's trending. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. But starting off here, Detroit Lions, Vikings. Jahmyr Gibbs is just start every matchup. And what I like about this matchup, Vegas is giving us an indicator it's going to be high scoring with a 48.5 over under. McCarthy should be back. You're looking at this, and you're looking at Minnesota here. So when you look at what they're giving up the running backs, not 100% advantageous. So this could be like a meh game for Jahmyr Gibbs. Like he could be hitting like 17, 18, 19 PPR fantasy points, which is still great. Still great. Like it would be lower for him, but not on his high end. Still great. He's only busted once this year. That's against the Chiefs. And he's going to have a bust game here and there. That's just part of it. We're coming off the bye. I look for him to be a safe start. Everybody does. Nothing big there. Kimani Vidal's got the Titans. All running backs do something against the Titans. All running backs at least get to the fairway. I guess not Kyren Williams technically because Blake Corum got it for the Rams. But all running backs get it. He's running hot right now. He's getting the volume. He's looking electric. 43.5 over under. But the Chargers are thriving right now. They're looking solid. They're moving the ball. They got Gadsden. I think Kimani Vidal is going to be solid for this matchup. He's going to be looking good. I think if you're ranking top 30-ish, he's in the 20s somewhere. I think this is a great matchup for him. Now we're looking at Chargers, Titans still, and Tony Pollard. We got that puke emoji. We got the guy puking on Tony Pollard. This ain't a great matchup. We're also splitting the workload with Tajay Spears. It's damn near 50-50. He's got to score a touchdown. It's not like he's unstartable. Like, I don't do start-sit because when you look at probabilities and you look at everything, it's like, well, I can tell you to sit Tony Pollard, but he's also a touchdown gamble with the decreased workload and the unfavorable matchup because he could still score. That's just football. Football will still football. But his odds are reduced immensely against the Chargers defense, who will allow teams to break them. They will allow teams to break him on the run, but his workload has been reduced here, considering what we saw out of his workload the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So I'm not liking him this week. Josh Jacobs, I got this matchup for the Packers running backs is incomplete. We'll probably know more today, probably know more Saturday. I'm guessing he's going to be out there. It's not 100% favorable matchup. The Panthers defense is holding stronger than last year. They're about middle of the road when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. They're good at just allowing the running backs to get to the fairway and not get busted open. They got busted open by Cook last week, but that's about it. And then it held strong against the Cowboys and the Jets. When you're looking at that, it's a rougher matchup for a complete upside. When he's healthy and on the field, he's getting good volume, even though the yards per carry is not matching. If I feel like he's healthy, good to go, and rocking it, then I feel like an okay start, like a mess start. If I feel like he's coming in with the limp and they're splitting it up, I'm going to feel meh about it. I still feel like he's a start, but now I'm a little bit more worried about it. Now I'm looking at Rico, Dowdle, Chuba, Hubbard. They're splitting up the workload. You got the Packers defense coming in. Touchdowns. You need touchdowns from these guys. That's what you're going to need. It's going to be hard for them to rack up carries and yards in this matchup. It's going to be hard for them to do that. They're going to have to hit either popping off with big plays, like 1 or 2 big runs for Rico. That's in the cards every game. That's just football. That's just football. But the odds are reduced. Talking about odds are reduced. So if you played this game 100 times, these backs ain't hitting because most of these backs ain't hitting against them. Judkins hit for a little bit. Gibbs hit for a little bit. Williams hit for a little bit. But that game scored 80 total points. 80-some total points, remember? That Cowboys-Packers game? That game went off for a lot of points, and for him to only get to 19, like they scored 2 games worth of points. There's 2 games worth of scoring, 2 games worth of yards in that matchup. I mean, that's hard to say mathematically. It is what it is, but you have to keep that in line. But also, Warren, Knight, Chase Brown, Eckler. That's something to pay attention to because those guys didn't hit the fairway. They're fairway busters. So there's an odds that they don't hit the fairway here because they're going up against a defense that's a fairway buster. There's odds that they get to the fairway as well, but it's increased because they're going up against a fairway buster. Jonathan Taylor, I'm starting him no matter what. I don't really care what matchup it is. I'm just going to do it. I don't really care. I don't care. I'll take the L on any week. There probably will be a week somewhere down the line. It's just process. You're hitting like this. But what do I like about this matchup is Pittsburgh's about middle of the road in the standings when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. What I don't like about it is they haven't broken any running backs. They're allowing running backs to hit the fairway. But you got 50.5 over under, so this game script's going to get pushed. So there's going to be good volume here. That's going to give it a more advantageous situation for Jonathan Taylor. So I like that just as much, if not more. Bears, Bengals, DeAndre Swift. 51.5 over under with a tight ass spread. The Bengals are giving up fantasy points in droves to running backs. They're getting busted open, and they're allowing running backs to hit the fairway. Swift should be pretty safe to hit the fairway this week. He's questionable. He was last week. You're also looking at Kyle Money Guy. If you're looking for a gamble, backup, stash running back to throw in because you don't want to pick up a wide receiver into your flex and your record's okay to where you can make that gamble, this would be the game to do that with, those softer matchups to see if we can score. Considering he's coming in with the Q, you might get some extra touches out of him. We're watching Flacco. You might get different news once you watch this video. Comment Flacco's status in the comment section below to help somebody out. It's not like I'm dumb or anything. It's just really early in the morning, so I got little bags under my eyes. We work hard here. We work hard. We go nonstop. That's why there's so many videos. Do you think I'm doing this all at the same time? No, sometimes I got to go in the morning. That's why I sound drunk sometimes. I'm barely awake. Sometimes I roll out of bed at like midnight and I do this because something happened or a thought came up. That's why. Falcons, Patriots. Same thing as Jonathan Taylor here. Like, I'm just going to start. Yeah, we got the L game last week. It is what it is. I wasn't projecting that against the Dolphins. I was wrong. 44.5 over under. Patriots. Now, the bad. The Patriots defense can lock down running backs and prevent you from busting it open. So Bijan might be around that 15-point PPR area. They got him projected for 19. I think the odds of surpassing that is going to be hard for him in this matchup. I think it's going to be hard. Like, he's going to have to break off a big run. He's going to have to score multiple touchdowns for him to hit that. I think safely around that 15 PPR area is probably where he's going to be at. I think he'll be deep into the fairway, not just hitting the fairway. I think he'll get volume in the passing game. I think that's going to work out. I think it's going to be all right. He's still a start for me. Risk of hitting like less than 10 PPR fantasy points, I think with Bijan's very minimal every single week, but there's potential that it happens maybe 1 or 2 more times this season. Broncos, Texans, and I'm like meh on all the running backs in this matchup, really. Well, the Houston side, but J.K. Dobbins, you're looking at what the Texans are giving up the running backs. They'll allow you to get to the fairway, but a lot of cases it's barely there. Pollard barely there, Etienne barely there, Kyren Williams barely there, and that's Kyren Williams getting a lot of workload. Derrick Henry, 9.3, McCaffrey, 9.8. That's rough, but I look for him to get a lot of volume. A lot of volume as probably around 11 carries, 12 carries, a couple checkdowns, and that could materialize and get you to the fairway. I look for him to be a threat to be around the fairway and to bust it open to be a high scorer. We got to score touchdowns. Vegas, though, 39.5 over under. They're expecting this to be a gritty, fun, football-loving matchup, not a high-scoring love fest. That's what they're saying. That's what the market's saying. And you see the defenses, you see the puzzle pieces. That makes sense. How can it bust open past that and be a high-scoring game? Both of these teams have weapons, have young quarterbacks. that are very bipolar. And if they hit the top of their bipolarness, they can bust it wide open and make it what Vegas is saying wrong. And it goes off. They have that probability in them. Broncos, Texans still, we're puking on Woody Marks. He's got to score a touchdown. We're coming in with the Q. So if he's all right and he's out there, probably sharing the workload with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, how are you going to trust him against this defense? He's more of a flex gamble right now, but I don't trust it. He might be able to get you to the fairway if Woody Marks is somewhat out or whatever. But again, it's probably an indicator of a split up workload. But Woody Marks needs to break open the big play. He needs to score a touchdown. He's not going to get it carry after carry, busting it open with every single carry. It's going to have to be the big play or the touchdown in this matchup. Or both these offenses go YOLO, but we have people predicting it's not going to happen. McCaffrey's an insta start, and the Giants have been looking good against the run last few games. But the thing about this, Scadapoo is out forever. And the thing about that is I think that's a heartbeat for this team. I think it's going to cause some rollover here. And I think they're going to figure that out, and it's not going to be looking good. I don't like Tyrone Tracy for this matchup. I don't like Devin Singletary. I think this could be a rougher matchup. The one thing you see here is a 48.5 over under. So when I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the Giants side, where are the points rolling? Who's blowing that up? What are we seeing here? Christian McCaffrey, though, if he's not hitting it on the ground, he's going to hit it through the air. He had his bust game last week. We got Giants on the road. I think we're going to get right here. I don't think this is going to be a long-term trend. And, of course, I'm never going to bench Christian McCaffrey. Kyren Williams is a start. You got the Saints here. Tyler Shucks at quarterback. Tyler Shucks pretty bad. He was bad in training camp. And if training camp is a sign and that rolls into the season, then yes, he was pretty bad in training camp. From what I saw in the clips, from what we showed, and we had a lot of it. He got beat by Spencer Rattler for a reason. And we might catch some work to Kyren Williams here later in the game, punch it in the goal line. I think this is a safer matchup. 43.5 over under, but that spread of 14 indicates that the Rams are going to be up. How can we be wrong? Shuck balls out. That's it. He could. He's aggressive, and he's got the tools to do it. He's just got to develop into that, if that makes sense. That he's not there yet, and I don't know if he's got the time to get there. Alvin Kamara, this ain't the great matchup. The only thing about this is Chuck figures out that it's smart to check it down to him. Because if he does, he could be back up to getting like 8, 9, 10 targets a game and rocking and rolling. That is the wild card. That's where I could be wrong. How can you be wrong when you make a prediction and then call that out and focus on that? That's how I can be wrong. It's easy to say how I can be right. Saints being behind, having to throw the ball, pushing it downfield, rookie quarterback. The quarterback did not look in training camp, got beat out by Spencer Rattler, wasn't a top-tier rookie quarterback coming out for the draft, got picked in the second round just because they needed a quarterback and there wasn't really much else there. But how can I be wrong? Checkdowns. Just being a checkdown merchant. He could go off being a checkdown merchant. It's just not really easy to predict. It's not really easy to predict here because there's a lot of ambiguity in this matchup. But that is how I can be wrong with this game. Jaguars, Raiders. 44.5 over under. 2.5 spread. I'm mad on this game. I think we got potential to break it loose. You're looking at what the Raiders have done on the season. They've held running backs in check twice, and you're looking at those matchups. That's against the Chargers. That's against the Titans. That was 2 random game scripts, but you're looking at some of the other ones here, and they're allowing running backs to get to the fairway. Now you're looking at Chiefs, though. Rashard Smith, 13.1. The other running backs didn't. They did not beat that 13.1 mark. So you can look at that. Hendo, 11.1. None of the other running backs beat that mark. I mean, Nichols, 13.8. Nothing to tell your mom about. DeAndre Swift, 16, which is fine. Jonathan Taylor did Jonathan Taylor things, so I don't know if that should really count. This could be tighter. For Travis Etienne. I think with his workload and the Raiders kind of in this weird flux state, I think he's probably good for the fairway. 10 to 15 PPR point area, they got him 11.78 projection, where if he scores 9, it's not that far off, and he scores 13, it's not that far off. I think that's kind of fair, and you're looking at Ashton Genty kind of the same way, and he's projected at 16.99. I think looking at this Jacksonville defense and this Jacksonville team can get in these weird scraps, that's a probability that could ruin that. That's a probability. But on top of that, the volume and then coming off the bye week. Just coming off the bye week and rolling. There's a chance for that. So I'm kind of mad due to that. Because two things are going to happen. We come out of the bye week and we're rocking and rolling. Or the Jaguars stuff them. Chiefs, Bills, James Cook. I start him. But I honor the matchup. That's why I got the meh face. I start him, but I honor the matchup. What I do like about the numbers here, Vegas got a 52.5 over under. Good flow. I think he's going to be solid. If you're looking at the projections, shade lower, 16.98, and round him 17.9, 17.2, week 6, 17.2, 18.4. So they're honoring the matchup, but realizing James Cook still needs his flowers. That's really what that says to me. And I'm going to honor the matchup, but still give him his flowers. I'll still start him, but I also don't want to just say, yeah, just start him and be like not calling out the matchup, because that is in the probabilities. Kenneth Walker, a meh. Do I really need to explain? Like, I have him as a gamble every week, and I don't trust him at all. Do I really need to explain that? I think there's going to be a week where he just blows up, and that's going to be on everybody's bench, and they're going to be like, what the heck? Like, he could suck this week, and it'll be against a tough matchup. He houses 2 runs, and that's in the cards with him. That's just it. 47.5 over under. Vegas saying this is going to be high scoring. Could be. If that happens, you got potential. Commanders, though, are allowing running backs to hit the fairway at least. They stifled Genty. They did to Tyron Tracy / Scatterboo / Devin Singletary. They're filling out that backfield back then. Everybody else, they got blown up on. Bijan, though, Swift, Javonte Williams, almost. I think there's a chance. I'm not throwing it out there. I'm never going to feel good about it. Bam Knight, meh. And I'm going to honor the matchup here against the Cowboys, because everybody's rolling against the Cowboys. Mike Carter got cut. That was kind of projectable with how bad he's been. And now you're looking at the carries here. He should be in line for double-digit carries. He should be good for the fairway. Should be good. He could bust it wide open with touchdowns. So I look at him as a good gamble for the flex. A good gamble for the RB2 too. If you're not liking your matchup for your running back. And whatever happens, happens. The reason why I'm going meh here is because he's not a great running back. He's not super efficient. He's not super electric. He's good enough to get the job done. He's good enough to get you by. So there's a chance that comes to fruition. But the odds are the matchup's going to help you this week. Those are the starts and sits we're looking at going into week 9. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.